Shalom, shalom, shalom. Before I get this lesson started, I want to give all praises and glory to Yahweh by Shem Yahawashi, by Shem Hamakakadash, and double honors to the elders and the apostles of the great Muslim of whom I learned from, and shalom to the brothers that take this, hopefully elect brothers that take this truth to the four corners of the earth, bidding the elect spirits of Yasharallah to the marriage supper of the Lamb, who is Yahawashi, the true brother of God. I'm going to attempt to contain or trap or record some of the revelation I received on reading some of these precepts on Yahawashi. We understand in this truth, being of the seed line of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, that it is only the Hebrew Israelites. They are the only nation that was ever entrusted or given or granted the laws, the statutes, the commandments, and the name of Yahweh and the name of Yahawashi, the names. They're the only nation that those were given to. Other nations over time, through different scenarios, different situations, wars, captivity of the Israelites that would be short, the book of Judges, there's captivities mentioned in there that are 10 years, 7 years. Short times. There's other captivities that are longer, but every time the Israelites would be restored back to sovereignty. So the other nations knew, they would know stuff, some things about us, some things about our power, some things about our statutes, but never like today, right? Even if you go into the book of Judith, there's a very detailed description, there's a very detailed record of I can't remember if he's an Elamite. I'm just going off top of the dome. But you can go look it up. He's not a Hebrew Israelite, but he's explaining the depth and the seriousness of the position of war whenever the Hebrew Israelites are in a position of obedience, when they're in a position of grace, when they're in a position that they have not provoked Yahweh to wrath through some horrible transgression, like usually it's adultery, and just not being repentant. Basically, what the guy's saying is, if be careful when you approach this nation, because this nation, if they are not in transgression with their power, it doesn't matter what you do, you're not going to win. In fact, the guy was a captain. I remember, I just read the story. He's a captain, and he basically gets demoted just because he was warning them. And he was very detailed, but you see this record in the book of Judith. Again, I'm saying all that to show the things that we say out of the scriptures, Christianity, people in the world, they disagree for multiple reasons. One of the main reasons is because the wisdom wasn't given to them. Christianity is the strong delusion. It's not the truth. And people think it's the truth because the so-called white man said it was the truth. And people believe everything the so-called white man said for a number of reasons. He's the sword of Yahweh. He's been placed in a position of power by Yahweh. And everything and anything Esau operates in has to do with enchantments. There's a supernatural element. It's deception. In fact, it says in Revelations, when Satan is released from his prison, that's talking about the white man. It's not talking about the prince demon Satan. When Satan is released from his prison, and that's talking about the Renaissance period, he is released to deceive the world. He's been given that ability to deceive. Okay, and Christianity, Renaissance, Western, American, patriotic Christianity is exactly that. It's deception. Okay, I want to try to attempt to just exalt some things about Yahawashi. Genesis, we understand, and I said that to say this, we understand one of the mysteries of the scriptures is the understanding of how, and reincarnation, understanding that we get to live on the earth at multiple different lots, okay, and proof. Let me see. Let's just go into it. I'm going to come back to Genesis 21 because Adam is not a random man. Adam is Yahawashi, the son of power. because his title in Genesis is called the Son of God. And there's no way a random man would be given the power to release transgression in the earth by disobeying, and how it would then be transferred into every man from that point on. And then Yahawashi would have to come and fix what some random man did. No, this was Yahawashi. You got to understand that this mistake that Adam made, he is the first and the last. That he was the first, he was the one that made the mistake. But this was written. This was written in prophecy. It was supposed to happen this way. He would fail or transgress in the garden, and he would accomplish or overcome from the cross. This is why he is the first and the last. That's what he says about himself in the Revelation. I am the first and the last. What's he saying? I am Adam and I am Yahawashi. He was the first man, Adam, and he is the second Adam. When Paul's going into this, talking about Yahawashi. And to understand that this is Yahawashi, let's just pull up another prophecy about Elijah being sent back. And then let's show you that the Israelites were asking John the Baptist if he was Elijah. And John the Baptist was Elijah, but he didn't remember he was Elijah. That's why he said, I don't know. And when you are a person reading the scriptures from a Western Renaissance Christian perspective, those questions seem very weird, almost evil to you. Because you think the Bible is your book. You think the Bible is an American book. You think the Bible is a white person book. And white people don't believe in reincarnation. Therefore, something must be wrong with these people in the Bible asking John if he's Elijah. Does that make sense? The Bible has nothing to do with America other than America's destruction written in prophecy. White people did not write this. They tried to manipulate it by removing the Apocrypha, by changing the names of Yahweh to Jehovah and from Yahawashi to Jesus. Right? And then English, you have to look into the Hebrew and the Greek words, right? So, I'm saying a lot. Let's look up the prophecy. Let me see. Let's look up the prophecy. The prophecy. Let's look it up. Malachi. I will send the prophet Elijah. The prophet, and Elijah was dead. The prophet Elijah. And this is talking about the prophet who went up into the chariot, a UFO. And Elisha was following him. Behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet before the coming of the great day, the dreadful day of the Lord. And this is multiple times. This isn't just one time. He comes back again. Because the great day of the Lord is talking about Yahawashi, and that's Armageddon. That's in the near future. So for Elijah to come back before this time means what? He came back during Yahawashi's time when he ministered the gospel 2,000 years ago. And then when we went to sleep and came into slavery and completely lost all of our heritage, we had to be woken up again, and our hearts had to be turned to the fathers, and the fathers to the heart to the children. Right? That means being restored from everything from the past that was written to which is today. Understanding what was written long ago when we read it today. You know, it's difficult that I'm saying it. It sounds a little twisted. Just bear with me, okay? Behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet before the coming of the great day of the Lord. This is some deep stuff. Now let's go to the Gospels when they were asking this question to John. John is asked if he is Elijah. Elijah. This stuff doesn't make sense when you're in Christianity. And they asked him, this is John chapter 1, verse 21, and they asked him, what then, art thou Elias? And he saith, I am not. Why did he say I am not? And better yet than this, hold on. Let me get some more context so I'm not freaking you guys out, okay? I understand that inside of a lot of you, when you hear this message, cognitive dissonance and just programming from television, programming from Sunday school, programming from just Western American global worldly thinking, we are not even taught how to think like this. So for someone to hear this, I'm granting you grace by saying I understand if the inside of your spirit, if your innermost man is like, what is this guy talking about? I understand that. It's natural. You have to understand everybody on the planet Earth is under the sway of Esau, the so-called white man. Everybody. I don't care how so-called black you think you are. I don't care how so-called Latino. I don't give a fuck how much Spanish you speak. I don't care if you eat chitlins. I don't care how ethnically you think you are within your own culture. You are under the vibration of the fucking white man. And a lot of what you think has to do with what he has told you through some avenue, whether it be public school, television, radio, music. His fingerprints are fucking on everything, you guys. Let me get back to the point. Let's read. Let me see. There was a man sent from power whose name was John. This same came for a witness, to bear witness of the light, that all men through him might believe. He was not that light, but was sent to bear witness of the light. That was the true light, which lighteth every man that cometh into the world. He was in the world, and the world was made by him, and the world knew him not. Talking about Yahawashi now. He came into his own, and his own received him not. See, now people see this. Oh, you guys rejected him. Some did, but then what's the next verse say? But as many as received him. And see, now people think this is talking about white people over here in America. No, it's talking about the same period of time. Didn't Peter run around with Yahawashi? Didn't John? Didn't Mary follow him everywhere? Didn't Martha and Lazarus? Didn't he get away from the crowds and go hang out with Martha, Lazarus, and Mary? All the time. That's who this is talking about. The crowd of Israelites during the time that he walked that loved him, that believed who he was, that followed him. Okay? That's what this next line is talking about. It's not talking about fucking America. But as many as received him, to them gave he power to become the sons of God, even to them that believed on his name. Well, what's his name? His name was not Jesus. When this was written 2,000 years ago, English wasn't even a language on the planet Earth, you guys. English would not be invented until 600 years after this was written, give or take. You got to understand that. English and the American vibration and the Hollywood vibration and all that you know of the world through an American Western lens, that whole behavior system, that whole way of doing TV, that whole way of taking pictures, none of that shit existed when this was written. His name was not Jesus then. It was Yahawashi. I'm going to continue reading. Which was born not of blood, nor of the will of the flesh, nor of the will of man, but of power. And the Word was made flesh and dwelt among us, and we beheld his glory. See, if we were rejecting him, we wouldn't be holding his glory, right? So this is a witness of one of the people who loved him. The glory as of the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth. Now John bare witness of him, and cried, saying, This was he of whom I spake. He that cometh after me is preferred before me, for he was before me. And of his fullness have all we received, and grace for grace. For the law was given by Moses, but grace and truth came by Yahawashi HaMashiach. That's what was originally there, but they changed that part. No man has seen power at any time. The only begotten Son, which is in the bosom of the Father, he hath declared him. And this is the record of John. This is also something that Yahawashi did uniquely in the scriptures. He was the first man, the first son, the first prophet, the first Hebrew Israelite to acknowledge, to communicate, to speak of Yahweh as the Father. He was the first person to communicate to us that the Most High, Al-Shaddai, the demon-like power, Yahweh, the man of war, was the Father. You got to understand how powerful it is, too. Because up until this time, nobody had ever called Yahweh the Father. But Yahawashi shows up, and he's using this word to describe Yahweh, who's also known to the nations as Al-Shaddai, for what he was doing through the Israelites. He was considered like a demon-like power. Okay? No man has seen power at any time. The only begotten Son, which is in the bosom of the Father, he hath declared him. And this is the record of John, when the southern kingdom, Judah, Yahawashi, Benjamin, Laya, Benyamin, and Yahawashi, sent priests and Levites, Laya, from Jerusalem to ask, this is the southern kingdom, who art thou? Now, what does this mean? What do you mean, who art thou? They're asking, who art thou? Because in let's go back. Let me jump back one more. Okay, let's go back, because they were familiar with this. Why? Because the law, statutes, and commandments was given to the Hebrew Israelites. No other race. The names of Yahweh, now Yahawashi, were given to the Hebrew Israelites. No other race. And so this is something they were familiar. This is a racial, ethnic question. This is like menudo, if you're Mexican. This is like some deep ethnic dish that other people, when they come to say they want to have some food from your country, they stay away from this plate. It's too spicy. You guys have to understand, that's how this book is the heritage of the Hebrew Israelites. It's not a religion for us. This is how we express ourselves as a nation on the earth. So behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet before the coming of the great day, the dreadful day of the Lord. Okay? He was already dead. This is a prophecy. So we knew that Elijah was going to come back. Right? Let's get out of here. Are you Elijah? Are you Elijah? It's John. Actually, I can just jump to John. Hold on. John. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, let's jump back down. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. But as many as have received him, verse 12, to them gave he power to become the sons of power, even to them that believe on his name, which were born not of blood, nor the will of fire, and the word came flesh. John bare witness of him, Christ, saying that he was spake, and this fullness, for the law was given by Moses, but grace and truth came by Yahawashi. Let me jump down. And he confessed and denied not, but confessed, I am not the Hamashiach. Okay, look. And this is the record of John, when the Jews sent priests and Levites from Jerusalem to ask him, who art thou? Who art thou? He confessed and denied not, but confessed, I am not Hamashiach. And then look at this. And they asked him, what then? Art thou Elias? And he said, I am not. Art thou that prophet? And he said, no. Now, two things. You need to understand how deep this is. He's saying, I am not, but he didn't correct them. Wasn't John the Baptist giving correction and counsel while he was baptizing? Yes, he was. There's a scene where he's telling the centurions, don't tax or don't overtax, don't do this, don't do that, right? Remember? He's telling people, they're asking him questions, well, what do we do? And he's giving them instructions in righteousness. Don't you think if reincarnation was a wicked reality, don't you think he would have said something right here? Think about that, you guys. This is a multi-layered question right here. Or a multi-layered line, a record. And they asked him, what then? Are you Elijah the prophet? Elijah died a long time ago, you guys. Shouldn't John the Baptist, who is a prophet, shouldn't he have said, what are you guys talking about? That's a demonic doctrine. That's a wicked belief system. Shouldn't he have said something like that right here? He doesn't. Why? Because he's familiar with the same prophecies that they are asking questions about. Why does he say no? Let's go to Ecclesiastes. There is no remembrance of former things. There is no remembrance. Remembrance of former things. Bam. There's some about reincarnation. There is no remembrance of former things, neither shall there be any remembrance of things that are to come with those that shall come after. Come after what? Come after they died. You've come back on the earth. There is no new thing on the earth, and that which is man. We know that which is man. There's more to this, and I know those of you that are more skilled in this, because I got a thought, and I was like, let me see if I can do this. Okay, let me see if I. So Ecclesiastes 1:11, there is no remembrance of former things. Neither shall there be any remembrance of things that are to come with those that shall come after. Okay, so this is talking about when you come back, your memory is wiped from your last lot that you on earth. Now, let me give you an example. You guys have had a boyfriend or a girlfriend, or you've had a traumatic situation, or let's say you had a phenomenal situation, right? That sometimes can be so amazing that it's something you think about all the time, yet you got to put it to the side of your mind when you're trying to focus at a task. Or have you ever gone through a breakup or something phenomenal that you're just thinking about it all the time? It's kind of distracting, and you got to focus and not think about that thing so you can actually get your task done that's at hand. Well, imagine having a memory of 80 years or 120 years or 500 years, depending on how long ago back, because we used to live for 1,000 years. Imagine remembering your entire life. Just imagine the last time you were on earth. What if you could remember every day, or remember your entire life, and yet you're in this life? Do you understand how fucking distractive that would be? You're talking about generational differences, language differences, society differences. You would have attitudes that would overwhelmingly want to come through today from yesterday that would seem offensively abnormal today. Imagine having a perfect memory from 4,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago, about a topic today that's not acceptable. Think about this. Do you see how you just think about how homosexuality was viewed 2,000 years ago compared to how it's viewed today? And imagine having perfect memories from a life that you lived 2,000 years ago, and here you are coming into a restaurant and you see transgenders, or you see sports and you see a transgender dude beating up a woman, but he looks like a woman. And you have all of the colors, all of the perfect flavors from your life from 2,000 years ago in your memory today. Do you see how that would? Do you understand how that would be a problem? You have to understand there's a wisdom in why we are not supposed to remember the last time we were on the earth. It would affect our lot today. Does that make sense? So there is no remembrance of former things. That's why. Does it mean those things never happened? No, they're in a database in the spirit realm somewhere. And I believe when we get our glorified bodies, and when Yahawashi sets order in the earth, I believe we're going to have access to all the lots that we lived on the earth. And we're going to be able to, our bodies will have the capacity to have them all back inside of our mind without it being confusing or overwhelming. I believe that we'll be able to handle that. We're going to have godlike powers. But I said all of this to say this. When Yahawashi was Adam and Eve, when Eve transgressed by eating the knowledge of from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, and when she came back and brought it to him, and he ate, and the judgment came. Look at this. And unto Adam also, and to his wife, did Yahweh God make coats of skin? You got to understand what this is. This is Yahawashi with the elect. In the Garden of Eden, it was Adam with his wife, Eve. But Eve represents the elect because she gets her coat of skin, which is what? It's a covering for her transgression. What is nakedness? Nakedness is transgression. It's sin. And if it's not covered, it's judged. And so the transgression of Adam was he disobeyed the Father. He disobeyed the download of the breath that he was given. He knew the instruction, and he went to listen or to ingest or to believe in another philosophy. That's what the fruit of knowledge of good and evil was. And so they basically both began to accept the strange woman that Yahawashi, as King Solomon explains all throughout the Proverbs, Wisdom of Solomon, and Ecclesiastes. Does that make sense? And so I'm saying all this about Yahawashi. If there's anyone who understands our situations in our flesh, it really is him. See, because I never could understand, how Christianity explains Yahawashi, or the one they call Jesus, because when he came down as Yahawashi, because he had a body, that means he understands us. No, dude. He understands our situation because he sinned when he was Adam. That's why he makes a good high priest. Not because when he came down as Yahawashi, he didn't commit no sins, you guys. But every time he's been on the earth, he was Adam, he was Isaac, he was King Solomon, and then he was Yahawashi. And if you notice, it's an upward progression. He messed up when he was Adam. It doesn't look like he messed up when he was Isaac. He messed up towards the end of his life as King Solomon, and then he comes as Yahawashi, victorious. And when they ask him, good master, good master, and when he says, why do you call me good? There is no good but Yahweh. In Christianity, you're taught, he's just being humble. No. He was aware of his transgressions, and he was saying, my father had never sinned. Remember when they bring the woman caught in adultery to him? And they say that the law says she's supposed to be stoned, but what do you say? Remember when he says, he who is without sin, let him cast the first stone, and then one by one they walk away, and then the woman who is caught in adultery, she's guilty. He asks her, where are your accusers? And she says, there are none, my Lord. He says, neither do I accuse you, but go and sin no more. What he is saying there, it's not that he's overlooking transgression, no, or adultery because it's wicked. No, she's a type and shadow of the elect. And when he says, let he who has no sin cast the first stone, everybody assumes that he's only speaking about those guys. No, he's actually talking about his father sending him back. He's the rock that is cut without hands. And that rock, what does it hit? It hits the whore. It hits the real adulteress, which is what? All of the rulerships that ruled on the left-hand side, spreading the false doctrine or the doctrines of all the strange women throughout the earth during their rulerships, with the most worst one being what? The Lady of Enchantments, or the whore that sits on the beast, Esau, Edom, America, and the Salakia, the NATO and the EU. That's the whore. That's the adulteress. Yes, we did do that, but his blood washes us from this. The ones that don't get the covering, just like in the Garden of Eden, only Eve and Adam got coats of skin. The serpent didn't get coats of skin, and neither did the beasts of the field. Who are the beasts of the field? The heathen nations. Who is the serpent? That's Esau, Edom. They didn't get the blood of Yahawashi to cover their sins. Only we did, the elect, and then the other 2/3 are saved. So I want to say this now. I said all that to say this. You got to understand that Yahawashi remembered he was Adam and he knew that he was Adam, and he knew that he was Isaac, and he knew that he was King Solomon when he was Yahawashi. He didn't know he was Yahawashi when he was Adam. I don't think. He didn't know he was Yahawashi when he was Isaac, and he didn't know he was Yahawashi when he was King Solomon. Why? Because even he wrote, there is no remembrance, but he was given a huge amount of wisdom when he was King Solomon. But he wrote, there's no remembrance. I believe when he came back, he knew who he was. He had to have been given that endowment because that's what helped him not transgress, you guys. It's not cheating. It's the Most High's grace. Now look at this. In Revelations, he says what? What is I got to get the exact chapter. Okay, Revelation 3:18. I counsel thee to buy of me gold tried in the fire, that thou mayest be rich, and white raiment, that thou mayest be clothed, and that the shame of thy nakedness do not appear, and anoint thine eyes with eye salve, that thou mayest see. This is so much in here. There's a ton in here. Oh, God. Okay, let's see if I can do this. Let's see if this makes sense to you guys. Remember when he was Adam? What did he say? When he got busted. The woman you gave me, right? So what is that? That's Yahawashi, right? Complaining to Yahweh or the prophets in the garden representing Yahweh, because that's what the voice of the garden was. The voice of God, the voice of power walking in the garden was not Yahweh himself. It was the prophets in the Garden of Eden who were the representation of Yahweh. So when Adam tells the prophets, but speaking to the Most High, it's the woman you gave me, she did this, and the Most High says, well, is this true, Eve? And then she says, oh, the serpent beguiled me, the wicked nation, the man that represents that nation, he told me of the philosophy, and I thought it was wise, and yes, and so then the Most High judges that man. The serpent gets judged. He doesn't get covering though. And then the Most High, and then the prophets cursed or spoke judgment on Eve, and then the prophets, at the direction of Yahweh, spoke judgment on Adam. So that's what we see, right? Then Yahweh sends the prophets to cover, to atone Adam and Eve. And the reason why Eve because Adam had more than one wife, and the reason why Eve was covered was because her covenant, her relationship, her intimacy, her marriage unto Adam. Adam received the covering because he's the son of power. Now this also goes back to the prophet Nathan, King David, when Nathan tells the prophet when Nathan the prophet tells King David about this son he's going to have through Bathsheba, he's going to be my son and I'm going to be his father. And if he transgresses, I will chastise him with the rod of the sons of men, but my mercy will not depart from him. That's also how we know. That's one of many reasons why we know King Solomon is Yahawashi, because it links up with this. There's a mercy that we see being given to Adam, and the wife, who is a type and shadow of the elect. I know people use Eve to describe the nigger woman today, but here, this is the elect, because there was no coats of skin given to the cattle, and there was no coats of skin given to the serpent, and the serpent messed up, but there was no coats of skin given to the fucking serpent. So there's an exclusive, unique grace we see specific to Adam and Eve, and we know that Eve got her mercy and grace coat because of her marriage to Adam, and Adam got his coat of covering of his nakedness because he's the son of power. And so you go back to 1st or 2nd Samuel, when the Most High says he will be my son and my mercy will not depart from him. Boom, that's how the Spirit can connect that, because the Most High declared that we're all sons. But the Most High is telling King David, this boy you're going to have is my, it's literal. It's not figurative. It's literal. He's my son. And because he's my son, my mercy will not depart from him. But if he fucks up, if he messes up, I'm gonna beat his ass. And what happened? King Solomon messes up at the end of his life. He erects abominations. He never gets any type of judgment during their life. He dies peacefully. But when Yahawashi comes back, Yahawashi doesn't sin, but he gets the shit beat out of him by the Roman soldiers. He gets whipped because he's King Solomon. He was paying for the sins when he was King Solomon. This is why Yahawashi, as a high priest, understands us. This is why. Because he knows what transgression is like. He didn't sin when he was Yahawashi, but he did transgress when he was King Solomon, and he did transgress when he was Adam. There's no record of him transgressing when he was Isaac. And if you look at the prophecies that Isaac gives Jacob and Esau, those two prophecies on the two most powerful nations, one being wicked, the other being righteous, are taking place to this day. So who was Isaac if he was just random? No. And he was the promised son to Abraham. All of these accolades point to the fact that, and if you also read the genealogy and how they say it in one of the Gospels, Yahawashi is all those people. I said all that to say this. You see the growth. You see Adam, who is Yahawashi, complaining about his wife. Well, who's the wife of Yahawashi, you guys? The elect. So here he's complaining about our fuck up, and our fuck up was huge. We had no business listening to the serpent, which is a type. You can almost stretch it out to adultery, you guys. She had no business listening to that man at all. She should have just turned around. Hey, man, my husband said, get the fuck out of here. Like, that's endless. But she didn't do that. She let that nigga get in her mind in such a way that she came back to Adam and he agreed. So when judgment came, you see and listen to me. I say this lightly. I don't want to sound like because Adam was a powerful ruler, you guys. The image of Adam isn't conveyed correctly. He's looked at as a simp or some, he's just like this weak dude that messed up. No, he listened to his, bro, you need to understand, Adam was a ruler. He was an alpha male, dude. He really was. And you got to understand, Eve was also, she was a lot stronger. Just everything was bigger and more back then. Okay, he really was, and he was a ruler of Edom. Or the Salakia, the Garden of Eden. He wasn't a weakling, okay? So, when I say this, I say it with a sprinkle of salt, but in his immaturity, you hear him say, the woman you gave me. Let's pull that up. I want to show you something, and then I want to go into something else and see if it makes sense. I believe that you guys will see it. The woman you gave me. The woman you gave me, right? So look at this. And remember, this is the first time Yahawashi has been living in the place that he identifies as the place of judgment in Ecclesiastes as the place of judgment. You got to understand, he's the only Alahayim, removing those of us that are, because that's another deep topic. I'm talking about out of Michael, Uriel, Satan, Asmodeus. And I say Asmodeus because he's the only other name of a powerful left-handed spirit who actually we know the name, and we see that in Tobit. So you got Gabriel, Michael, Uriel, and Raphael, right? Those are the four right-handed angels that we know of, and they all have names. And then we know of Satan on the left-hand side and Asmodeus on the left-hand side. And then we know Yahawashi. Out of all of the sons of power, he's the only, Yahawashi is the only one that has come to live on the place under the sun. Which means what? He's subject to judgment. Because the place of judgment is under the sun. Asmodeus and Satan don't live here. They come here, but they don't live here. So they don't ever experience judgment. Michael, Gabriel, Uriel, and Raphael, Salakia, they come here too. And all the Alahayim come here whenever they're sent. But they don't live here. They don't get judged, you guys. The place of judgment is under the sun, and it's under the sun that men live. This is why it's in this realm that the Most High is able to express his judgments. Can you guys see that? This dimension under the sun is where judgments take place. They don't take place up in the... I mean, he declares them in the heavens, but they're not lived out. That's the place of rest. Doesn't it say that in Job? Whenever we go up there, no matter who it is, all that die go back to the one who sent them. Or the spirit goes back to the one who gave it. Hitler's up there right now, snoring, sleeping, resting. Who else? Let me see. Prince, he's up there, sleeping. There's no... you understand what I'm trying to say? The place of judgment takes place down here, and Yahawashi is the only Alahayim who has come to the earth multiple times in the place of judgment. This is, see, the other angels, they look at this. They're like, whoa. Okay, I said all that to say this. And the man said, the woman whom thou gavest to me, to be with me, she gave me of the tree and I did eat. See how he just kind of blamed her and threw her under the bus? Okay, look, again, he's a ruler, but this is his, yes, he created the earth. He created, yes, he's the firstborn son. Yes, he's the alpha male. He's very powerful. You guys, he has never lived in the realm under the sun, the place of judgment, and he's never received a judgment from Yahweh before. I don't care how fucking alpha male firstborn. You got to understand, this man is powerful. Adam is powerful. He's physically huge. He's spiritually huge. He is the son of power. He is the firstborn son. But even the archangel Michael, Gabriel, Uriel, and Raphael, and even Satan and Asmodeus have not lived in the place under the sun. They've never been judged, you guys. But here Yahawashi is about to receive a judgment. So this is what comes out of his mouth. The woman you gave me. Are you guys seeing what I'm trying to show you? This is huge, man. Now, with that understanding that Adam is the only begotten son of God, Yahawashi, let's look at Eve. Okay? Because you got to see this. She's also a type and shadow of the elect. And Yahweh power said unto the woman, what is this that thou hast done? The woman said, the serpent beguiled me and I did eat. So she blames the serpent. She doesn't take responsibility. Okay? Check this out. Now, let's go here. Let's jump to when Yahawashi in the book of John is praying. I have manifested your name to the ones you gave me. Who are the ones that they are Eve. They are his wife. Look at this. I have manifested now. Look, he's gonna take an ass whooping. He's gonna go to the cross. He's gonna offer up his blood first for his sins, just like the other high priest, and then he's gonna offer up the blood that he shed for our sins, for his wife's sins, the elect sins, Eve, just like in the Garden of Eden. This is the coat of skin. Watch. I have manifested thy name unto the man which thou gavest me out of the world. The wife you gave me. Now remember, he was Adam. He also appeared for a little bit as Melchizedek. He came as what? Isaac, and he walked out his own future on the mountain with his father, going up nervously, Father, I see the fire, but where is the lamb for the sacrifice? What does Abraham say to Isaac? Yahweh will provide. And then when they get to the top, Abraham says, you're going to be the lamb. And so Isaac, probably strong enough to fight his dad, submits to his father's authority and gets on that altar nervously. And right before Abraham could stab him or cut his throat, the angel stops him. Now I know you fear me. And then there's a lamb caught in a bush. This was Yahawashi too. He just didn't know he was Yahawashi. So you see the progression of maturity. Then we see him as Ban Malak Dawada, the son of David, King Solomon, right? Remember, this is my son. I will be his father. If he transgresses, I will beat him with the stripes of men. But my mercy will never depart from him, because there was mercy given to him. The Most High is the same yesterday, today, and forevermore. He doesn't change not, so he's always favored his son. You got to see this. There's no mercy departing from Yahawashi. As Adam, even though he messed up, coats of skin was still provided. It doesn't seem there was any transgression as Isaac, but he walked out his future that he would die. He comes down as King David's son, and he's declared to be the son of the power, and the power says, I will be his father. If he messes up, I will stripe him, but my mercy will never depart from him. And now he's about to get striped because he did mess up, but he didn't receive it in that life. He's going to get beaten now for himself and for us. And here he is now, fully maturing, and rather than complaining about us, he's praying for us. You see the development of him as a husband compared to how he was when he was powerful as Adam? He's growing from glory to glory, you guys. And so is Eve if they stay humble to Yahawashi. Trip off this. There's more to this, but look, jump to Revelations, right? So now, this is nuts. I counsel thee. I hope this makes sense. I counsel thee to buy. How do you buy gold from Yahawashi? How? How do you buy it? You have to just believe and receive, right? You have to follow him wherever he goes. You have to let go of all the voices. You got to stop being an adulteress. And in this case, you got to be a virgin and not listen or be or touch and know the mysteries and not be touching the other women, which are the other philosophies, which makes you an adulteress. Okay, so, Revelation 3:18. I counsel thee to buy of me gold tried in the fire, that thou mayest be rich, and white raiment, that thou mayest be clothed, and that the shame of thy nakedness do not appear, and anoint thine eyes with eye salve, that thou mayest see. And so what do we do now as the bride, right? As the hopeful elect? We have a humble attitude. We humble ourselves under Yahweh B'Hashem Yahawashi, and we honor the Son the best that we can with these laws, statutes, and commandments, and we acknowledge our transgressions, right? And we take accountability for what we've done. How do we do this? Let's go here. It just gave it to me, the water Yahweh B'Hashem Yahawashi. Look at this. I will bear the indignation. I will bear the, look at this. This is the attitude now of Eve. And what I mean by Eve, I'm talking about the men who are likened as a comely woman. And we're not going to blame anybody else. We're going to take accountability, because you see what's happening with our women. They won't take accountability, and it's the most frustrating and enraging thing to behold. Why? Because you're looking at yourself in the mirror from the past. There's nothing worse than a woman that refuses to accept instruction from a man. It's the same thing when a man refuses instruction from the Most High and his Son. It's disgusting. Who the fuck are you? Trying to go out of the order. How are you going to go? How are you listening to me going to go around Yahawashi and go straight to Yahweh? How the fuck are you going to go around Adam? How are you going to go around Malak Tazadakia? How are you going to go around King Solomon? Yada Yaja? You're going to go around the most wise? How are you going to go around Yahawashi? I don't need a man. Yes, you fucking do, because we do. We need a man. We need Yahawashi. You're not going to approach. No man can come unto the Father but by me. When you read the Wisdom of Solomon and you watch how King Solomon is, God, bro, poetically, on such a personal level, the descriptions of wisdom, how he's describing her, the way he's talking about her, the way he's the colors, the fragrances coming off of him, when he's showing himself to be so vulnerable at times, and other times he's saying things about her that are intimidatingly fearful. It's like, wait a minute, hold up. How did you put that arrangement of words together about her in such a humble way? There's no way, and it makes sense with what he's saying about her, but you're like, I that would have never come into my mind. Like my perception of Yahawashi changed when I understood that he was King Solomon, and my perception of King Solomon changed when I understood he was Yahawashi. Like you know, it changed me. I reading the Wisdom of Solomon. I was like, it just, dude. I went through a season of being very intimidated. It's still, he is intimidating. I was like, I said, Yahawashi, you're intimidating because you really know, like, he really is the chief musician, right? The house of David, the tabernacle of David, is full of prophets that can sing, that can open up dark sayings on the harp. Revelations 14. It's what you see GMS doing all over the nation and all over the world and all the other affiliate camps. Opening up these riddles, these mysteries in Scripture that nobody else can. That is called harping. That is a symphony. It's a conducted composition that Yahweh wrote and his son conducts with the 144,000 chosen, and the audience is the remaining innumerable 1/3, and they sing and dance along. And that's it. Nobody else, bro. I hope I hope you guys see all this. I will bear and so this is the attitude of Eve now. Eve is not in the book of Genesis. It's talking about the devil beguiled me. No, this is now what we're saying. Just like our husband is maturing and has matured, we are learning how to mature with him. I hope this is right, man. I hope I'm not going up. I will bear the indignation of Yahweh. Why? Because I have sinned against him. I went out there and listened to the serpent long enough, and I began to look at his fruit, his doctrine, his fucking philosophies, and I took them on to myself. So to the point that I infected the one powerful man that had so much love for me that he had a vulnerable moment and he went along with my fucking ass. And I caused him to get fucked up. That sounds crazy, huh? Doesn't that kind of... Isn't that weird? That sounds... It's kind of flattering almost, right? We got to get this, you guys. I will bear the indignation of Yahweh. I don't want to ever put you in a situation anymore. I need your help. I don't want to cause problems all over the place with my disobedience. I will bear the indignation of Yahweh because I have sinned against him. Until he plead my cause, I got to stay in this humble position, this sincere, humble position. Until he plead my cause and execute judgment for me, he will bring me forth to the light. That's wisdom. And I shall behold his righteousness. That's his word. That's his laws. That's his statutes. That's his covenants. There's also his name is in here. Then she, now again, let me split this. Everyone's always applying this to Eve physically. Yes, it is. This is about our women, but you guys, this is also about America. This is about Mystery Babylon, the whore that sits on the beast. This is about Esau. Then she that is mine enemy, the fucking harlot, I'll pull it. the woman of enchantments, the well-favored harlot, then she that is mine enemy shall see it. Revelations 11:11. And then those that beheld them became afraid when they saw us standing on our feet. And shame shall cover her, which said unto me, where is the Lord? Where is Yahweh thy power? Weren't they rejoicing over us when we were asleep for 3 days and a half? They were celebrating, man. Behold her. Where is the Lord thy power? Mine eyes shall behold her. We will be in the chariots, looking down as Yahweh Bahashem Yahawashi rains fire down on these motherfuckers, man. Rejoice over her. It says that in Revelations. Mine eyes shall behold her. Now shall she be trodden down as the mire of the streets. We have to behold the destruction of this motherfucker, man, because it goes all the way back to the serpent in the garden with Eve. This is a long, ongoing fucking battle, man. I hope that this, I know I missed a lot, but I had to get it down. The thought came into my mind, like, let me get this down. I invite any correction from any other brother out there in GMS that's more seasoned than me. If I'm, and I say, I mean this, because I know this is kind of a deep, if I'm out of order, with doctrine, let me know, because I don't want to be, but I believe this was given to me, and I'm still learning how to put these verses together. I'm not an expert at it. I'm learning as I go. I pray that this is sincere, and I pray that this is right. So I want to give all glory to Yahweh B'Hashem Yahawashi. I want to give double honors to the elders and the apostles, the great millstone of whom I learned from. And a shalom to the hopeful elect, taking this truth to the four corners of the earth, bidding the elect spirits of Yasharallah to the marriage supper of the Lamb, who is Yahawashi. This is your brother Adah. Shalom.